Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Wednesday night. It's Teapot. Thanks for joining if you're here joining us live. And I see we've got a few people. Ruben, hey Ruben, and Jordan with the Token Drubbin Nebula giveaway question. Get it right out of the way. No chance. So thanks for joining if you're here live. Look forward to just like an hour of fun. Just going to bring on Parker in a few minutes, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of topics. Formula One, UFC, Olympic cards, football previews, NBA and NHL stuff. So a lot of different topics, pretty casual, but should be a fun conversation. And I just wanted to jump in real quick and highlight a few new features that we have in Market Movers. So if you've been in here recently, or if you're not a member, you haven't seen this, but we recently added this quick search functionality. So now you can come in here and you can type in any player like Trae Young, and it's going to pull up Trae Young's cards. Let's say I want to look at all of Trae Young's PSA 10 cards. Let's call them 2018 Prism, and you can do a little comparison of his base card and his red, white, and blue and his silver, and then just hit View Chart. And very quickly, it's going to take you over to a chart really quickly. You'll notice that the sidebar is a little bit different. You can still save the searches. It gives you this really nice quick comparison. And then if you click on this, the really nice thing is you can come back up and quickly edit it this way too. So if you wanted to add in more options, you can put them right on the chart. So this provides a lot of flexibility to quickly compare 2 cards, 3 cards, 7 cards, rather than using the traditional filters on the left. And otherwise you get all the same functionality over here. You can do an advanced search by clicking on this button, which is just going to take you to the normal view. So really exciting. We're still making a few stylistic tweaks to that, updating the functionality and the clarity of how that works a little bit more. But overall, really excited about that. And that's kind of a preview too of how the mobile app is going to work. As you may or may not know, the Market Movers mobile app is anticipated to be out at the end of May in time for Jeff and a few others to go down to the Dallas Card Show. So we're really excited about launching that. Our team is now testing it, and we've got the access to it on our phones. It's really slick. So that's going to be a total game changer and definitely a really exciting release. So you'll have that same quick search functionality on the mobile app to pull up cards really quickly and check the prices of those. Another big addition that we made, we've had this in our backlog for quite a while, and we just kind of pulled it to the front. We're still making some stylistic changes, but on these other tabs, many of you know we added the My Collection chart value here. So now if you go to the different tabs for sport, player, year, etc., you can kind of come in here and see how your collection is broken down. If you click on it, it'll blow it up for you. If you hover over the different pieces, you'll see how many cards, how much money, what percent of your portfolio is allocated to each of these things. So we're still going to make a couple of, like I said, sorting changes and stylistic changes on here to clean this up a little bit. But overall, that's a really nice addition. You can just totally keep track of how you're splitting up your portfolio, which is a really nice feature, and obviously a very traditional way of looking at any investment portfolio. And then another thing that is not out yet, I was actually hoping to have it ready to test or at least demonstrate today, but this has been something that's requested for quite a while now, and that is the ability to convert a raw card to a graded card in your collection. And so the way that that's going to work is you'll come in here and you'll just click on that entry for your raw card and click on the little button, and you'll see an option to update the grades. And basically it'll pop up a little modal where you can select the different grades. So let's say you have 10, quantity 10 of a particular raw card. You'll be able to add in like 3 PSA 10s, 2 9s, 2 8s, leave the rest raw, and kind of divvy it up, and it'll ask you the grading expense, and you can sort of bake that into the cost of all the cards. So another really nice feature. As you may know, right now you have to kind of come in here and delete the raw card and re-add it as a graded one. You won't have to do that anymore. You'll be able to convert it right to graded. So definitely a really nice feature there too. So those are some of the big things in Market Movers right now. Let me go ahead and bring on Parker, who is on standby. And I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen that whole time. So Parker's probably, whoops, that is my mistake. All right. Hey, Parker, you were probably over there shouting. All right, I will show. I'm going to share my screen real quick since I was like a ding dong.
Yeah.
That was a total StreamYard noob move.
Yeah.
All right, let's
There
do
you go.
let's do this. I'm going to switch me. Let's just share my screen real quick and show the pie charts. So, all right, so player pie charts. You can click on it, blow it up, hover over it, and see everything that's statistically there. And you can check that for the player, for the year, set. All of these have that same breakdown. So this is kind of a cool one to see, which sets you've invested the most heavily into. And I was also just kind of showing that you'll click the edit icon to get to where you can update the grade on the cards. And then with the quick search, just come over here. You can see I was typing in like Trae Young PSA 10. You click on view chart and it will take you to a chart of those cards that you've selected and just pop those up. And then, like I said, the nice thing is you can click on this and it'll keep your selections there in case you want to add anything to it, and you can still save it. So that was the lightning round version of this. So sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Jordan, I think ding dong is an understatement. So, all right, Parker, what's going on, my man? How are you?
What's going on, dude?
How are you?
Doing good, my friend.
Good.
Glad we got that cleared up.
Yeah, so you're gonna be featured on the Market Movers channel this weekend. You recorded a video, so you want to give a little preview of what you covered in that?
I'll give you a preview of what I think I struggled through. But like Jeff makes this thing look a lot. Jeff and you, to be honest, make it look a lot easier than it actually is. But no, in the episode, I decided to. It's not 10 cards, but it's like 10 types of cards that I'll be looking for in Dallas. So I'm praying that the video gets like 20 views so that people don't catch on to what I'm going to be hunting down. But I figure it is not a concern for me. But yeah.
Well, very cool. Look forward to watching that. I'm sure you did a great job. So we're gonna. I'm just gonna jump in and I'm gonna ask you some questions. And then I will maybe weigh in on some of these things too, if I have thoughts on them, but a little bit of an informal conversation, and we'll try to keep an eye on the chat as well. So I know there was one question. I just want to say hello to everybody. Yeah, sorry. No better way to get the comments going than not sharing my screen when I'm supposed to be. So let's see. I think there was a question about Matt Johnson asked, is there an option to compare my collection to a friend? So right now there's no way to have like visibility, but that is something that we've talked about. Not only comparing a collection, but sort of creating an ecosystem where people can communicate and share those, have some sharing settings turned on or off if they want other members to be able to see what they have, maybe have things for sale, stuff like that. So definitely something we're considering. And let's see here. Jordan says he won't be in Dallas, but he'll send some minions to pick up all of his cards for him. So maybe not the best idea to release your secrets.
Yeah, that's what I thought halfway through the video, but I'm like, it's good. I don't know. It was a cool video. It was a cool topic to kind of deep dive on. So,
and welcome, Brad. Glad you could join us, Comeback Card Investor. So question number 1, Parker. So I do not follow Formula One at all. I know that the Topps Chrome Formula One was released, and you and our community manager, Doug, split a box. What can you tell us about this product, how that box break went for you guys, and what do you see happening over time in terms of price expectations with that product, considering it's the first, I guess, Topps Chrome F1 product, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, so I guess in regards to me and Doug's box break, it went, I don't know if you guys saw it, we put it on the IG live stream, and he blew me out of the water, so much so that he actually said, I don't need your $250 for splitting the box. It's on me, because he made up his money.
Very generous of him.
Yes.
Very generous of him.
I'm a big Lewis Hamilton fan, which he drives for Team Mercedes. And yeah, so Doug, because we split the box down the middle. And so Doug not only got every single AMG card known to man in that box, from serial numbered refractors, one of the the cool track tags inserts, and then just like a base Lewis Hamilton, which goes for hundreds. And then he also got like probably the next most desired driver, which is Max Verstappen. He got, so I have like one of his just base Topps Chrome cards. And in the same pack, Doug got a Lewis Hamilton base and a refractor of Verstappen. Both were like $250 cards. So in one pack, he made up enough to pay for the whole box. But.
So Hammer and I was down in Atlanta last week for a few days with you guys, and Hammer and I were trying to figure out where we could all go out for dinner, and you and Doug were ripping that box, and I just kept hearing cheers of joy and groaning and moaning as you were hiding under the table in sadness and shame. So it was pretty funny.
It hurt. It would be like if you were like the biggest Andre Drummond fan in the world, and you open a box of 2012 Prism, and then Jeff's pulling Andre Drummond golds and silvers and inserts, and then you get nothing.
Well, Jeff's had that run of luck when we've done big team group breaks, and hopefully that luck shifts to one of us soon, because he seems to always have a knack for getting the best card, and he lets us pick the packs first, so it's only on us.
And he rips the other ones to let us know what we didn't get.
Yeah. So this is the first year of this product. I don't. What do you think about the long-term prospects of Formula One cards?
So it's hard for me to even like project out where the value will be. I think Lewis Hamilton stuff it'll continue to have value, but there's just a problem when it's being released for prices, like I think it's down a little bit to like $500-ish a box. For it was like $600-$700 range, I think. But when you're releasing a product of a sport that I don't think too many Americans are into yet. I mean, like that Drive to Survive certainly led to an uptick in viewership, but it's not. It does not get talked about mainstream. You're not going to flip on, Get Up in the morning, and they're going to be talking about Lewis Hamilton. Like maybe he'll be on like Sports Center like once a month, once every 2 months, but it's just so far out of like the mainstream kind of American kind of public eye. Maybe it would really depend on like, I think if international markets really get into cards, it's just a tricky proposition. It's like one of those things where I almost wish that they would have come out with a product like 3 years ago or something, and it would have been like $50 back then.
Yeah.
And then you could have like seen it kind of coming. Maybe like last year, it'd be like, okay, let's Drive to Survive Doc. The sport's kind of growing in popularity. Lewis is like a clear kind of Michael Jordan figure of the sport, and it's a pretty exciting sport to watch. So it's like you could make a play maybe like a year ago or 2 years ago on maybe picking up some Lewis Hamiltons. Where now it's so expensive. Like I don't even know where you go with it, to be honest.
And you bring up an interesting point in that now the hunt is always out, right? Like it's not anything like a few years ago, and same thing has happened with soccer products, and you could get those Donruss boxes, 2018 Donruss soccer for like $50 a few years ago, and you're not getting it for anywhere close to that now. So I think you're right. I think you're onto something, and we're not going to see those same multiples now with new stuff like that, new products, where somebody can get in and see it really blow up, like we have with tennis cards, golf cards, soccer cards, UFC cards, like Marvel cards. Like everybody's kind of out on everything now. It feels like they're just out scooping up anything that hasn't been hit already and hoping for the best and waiting to see if it catches fire. So it feels to me, and I know Formula One's a pretty popular sport globally, but it seems to me like maybe the Lewis Hamiltons will be dependent on how much of this stuff they printed for this first product, and repping your hat, and just maybe it's going to hold value over time. Maybe it's going to see some dip after the initial hype, and then slowly appreciate over time for the true collector base. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if I guess you probably don't know. We don't know if they're going to plan to print more next year, like make another series of it, or if this was just kind of see how it goes, one-time thing. Knowing Topps or the manufacturers, I would think if it goes well, they'll probably go, well, let's do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, I mean, in a weird way, I'd say I feel like I have more confidence in Topps, kind of, to not like overprint the crap out of something. But I don't really know where I get that sense from, to be honest. So I think that's wishful thinking in some ways. But yeah, I just don't know where the future goes for these. I personally would not recommend them to anyone from an investment standpoint, just because of like the time we're in, and it's just like you're almost flying blind.
Yeah.
In some ways, there's just so many like different like market factors kind of going on that I'm gonna stick to. I'll certainly be looking to pick up more Lewis Hamiltons for my PC. So I'm kind of hoping that the prices come down on that. But yeah, I think it's once it gets released at a price like that,
it's tricky.
It's just tricky. Yeah.
I'm going to hit the comments here quick. So let's see. I touched on this at the very beginning, Brandon. The Market Movers app will be out before the end of the month. Should be out in time for the Dallas Card Show. We got Northeast Ohio Sports Cards in the house. Good to see you, Eddie Slayer. Hello. Joey Gonzalez asked, how far does the Market Movers data go back historically? And Wisconsin Collectibles, who is not a paid sponsor, answered correctly. They could have gotten the trivia. It goes back 3 months from the day that we added the card into the system, so that you can't really say. So the oldest cards that we have go back to the fall of 2019, maybe late fall, early winter, and everything else is 3 months from the time that we entered into. So let's see here. What else do we have?
I saw Jordan said he's got a Lewis Hamilton base at PSA Super Express.
Wow, that's a big.
You're rolling the dice on that one for sure.
Yeah. But. So let's see. Awesome stuff been saying in the comments from last year. Base cards across the hobby will drop way down. Inserts and parallels will rule the market. Yeah, I mean, I have not. I'll be honest. I have not invested heavily into any base cards. I do have a few, of different players, but mostly I've tried to go for at least the non-numbered color of things, the different red ice and things like that, just where I feel like silvers, obviously, stuff like that. So I'm hoping that inserts continue to see a resurgence, and that inserts get more creative, and that there can be some kind of like life of inserts. There's a lot of people who collected in the 90s, like I did, they're not interested in ultra modern stuff because it doesn't have the same insert appeal. I mean, it was all about the inserts back in the 90s and the pack odds and knowing that you hit something really cool and creative. So I'd like to see more and more of that. Obviously, our insert March Madness was a fun thing to do this year and kind of showcase some of what really Panini's been doing with inserts, but hopefully they will keep that going. Let's see.
I saw Eddie Slayer said, I've always leaned towards shiny inserts. I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah, shiny's good. We all have a little bit of shiny object syndrome when it comes to that. Yes. I actually asked my 5-year-old tonight. I said, "Hey, do you like refractors or acetates better?" He goes, "Refractor acetates." That's really good. Smart answer. As I was looking at my phone on a Star Power Supreme Grant Hill card, so
don't give Panini any idea.
Acetate. Yeah. The problem is when they make the acetates into a product, and that kind of, to me, cheapens it. I like when the acetates are an insert. Like they're really hard to hit or something. But all right, next question. Let's see. I don't follow UFC too closely, although I know a lot more about that than I do Formula One. So I know there's some big fights this weekend. Who do you think is going to come out on top? And are there any investment opportunities into any of those fighters?
Yes. So the pay-per-view this weekend, it was supposed to have like multiple really sought after fights. One between Nate Diaz, everyone knows Stockton's Nate Diaz, against a guy named Leon Edwards. But that one got canceled. I think one of them got injured. But they're moving it back like a month or two. So it's not too far off in the future. So now the biggest fight on this card really is Michael Chandler who he's, used to be like one of the top dudes outside of the UFC in the lightweight division, which is the same division as Conor, Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, all these monsters. Khabib even, who just retired. He used to be seen as like the top dude who was outside the UFC. Now he's in the UFC. He came into the UFC and he knocked out like the number 6 dude in the world, Dan Hooker, a really tough guy. And now he's going to be fighting for the vacant world title against a guy named Charles Oliveira, who's bad, in his own right. I saw Brent says, Blake Schultz. Name sounds familiar. He says,
we got a little debate in the comments. So anyway, sorry, you were saying.
So yes. So anyways, I'm taking Chandler. I think Chandler's a terrible matchup for Oliveira. And Chandler, actually, I saw our guy Ben, he put in one of our team chats some interview that Michael Chandler did on the Ariel Helwani show, where they were talking for a couple minutes about Michael Chandler finally having a rookie card and how he thought it was so cool and everything. So I don't know. That was pretty cool to see.
Nice.
So yeah, his rookie card is in 2020 Prism. Now with Prism being released at like $1,200 a box, again, it's one of those things where I kind of flying blind a little bit as far as this is a great opportunity. I don't really know where Michael Chandler's rookie cards are going to go, but I assume if he wins the championship, that I guess I can look him up in market moves right now, so I can.
I was just pulling him up. I was one step ahead of you. Yeah. So we got Michael Chandler. So this is the last 90 days, and looks like he's down a little bit here. So I mean this.
So okay, 111 for his silver and about $20 for his base. Yeah, I mean, because again, it's we don't really know how much they printed. I would assume, and $20 sounds a bit maybe like an opportunity. Again, I have no idea. It's just until a product is out for a while and you can gauge kind of what the supply is. It's just tough, because who knows? Maybe they printed, 10x, with whatever they did for any of the previous, Topps Chrome UFCs. So any knowledge I have working off of Topps Chrome UFC products could be totally irrelevant. There's a million of these cards out there, but
Jordan wants to know if Chandler's the Bull of UFC.
No. I wouldn't say he's the Bull. No. The dude's for real. He's probably gonna on Saturday night. He's probably gonna have UFC gold strapped around his waist. There's always value in that.
So it's always something fun before these head-to-head matchups to it's kind of like making a bet, but with a little less all or nothing behind it, right? Like you can make your bet by buying somebody's cards beforehand.
Yeah.
The nice thing is you don't lose everything if you lose, right? You just the guy's card might go down in value, or you have the physical asset to hold on to. So that's nice.
Yeah. So I guess from a where could value be? I picked up this Israel Adesanya card for I think about $100 or something off eBay. That was more for PC purposes, and my gut kind of told me because it's the blue out of 199. Because they have the red at 275, then the blue is the second most common number parallel. I think who knows? With First Prism products, that felt a bit cheap for the boxes being $1,200 because that would be one of the main dudes you would want to find. So for $100, I'm I think I'd take it. Yeah. Either way, I'm cool with it being PC. It's probably going to remain there.
Yeah. That's always nice. I get into trouble sometimes with that, wanting to buy cards that could be PC or could go up. But yeah. So let's see. Matt Johnson asked, did I hear correctly? Target will stop selling cards. No, I don't. They're not stopping. I did hear it was moving to online only, and I did see that. Northeast Ohio Sports Cards posted a video today talking more about that. So I haven't gotten a chance to watch that or check on it. It was totally heads down today on some other stuff, but I did hear that there was news, and it sounds like they're going to move online. That whole situation with retail is little bit out of control, to say the least. People getting into fights and lining up for 4 hours, and we'll see how that continues to play out. So, third question. Let's see.
Quick. I saw Rage 508 said just buy Usman. I honestly agree, man. I had one of Usman's. So he had rookie cards, or his like true rookie was in 2018 museum collection UFC, and that was his only card from like 2018, which is his rookie year. So it's really his only like true rookie card.
Yeah.
Then same thing happened with like Adesanya. So like here's the 2019 like Topps Chrome of Adesanya, which is like kind of considered it's like a dude's first prism kind of. It's like it has its own kind of rookie properties to it, even though it's not a true rookie. But yeah, I had one of Usman's green refractors from that year, and I sold it like a couple months ago for not a ton of money, and I'm really regretting that because he's probably going to pass GSP. George St. Pierre is the best welterweight of all time, and he could go down as a top 5 UFC fighter of all time if he keeps up this pace. So
we were talking about this earlier, but over the last 60 days, several guys have seen their value go down, including Usman. So yeah, there's definitely some decrease in his stuff over the last 60 days. So anytime I see that significant of a drop, sometimes there's an opportunity to get in.
The museum collection one?
Yeah.
See if there's any. Yeah, that one's up. I'll probably have to get I just noticed like he had like no graded stuff out there when I was adding these cards, so I'll have to go back, and I think I saw some really high sales of like a PSA 10 of like the parallel at 25 went for like a few grand or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty cool.
Nice. All right. Let's see here. You've been following hockey a little bit lately, which I was surprised to hear you say. I know obviously Hammer is into hockey, and he's gotten more and more into it over the last few years. He's been adding a lot of hockey cards to our database. So what has prompted Parker to get into hockey cards, and who do you like in terms of the playoffs? Have you looked into the playoffs, and any predictions for guys who might see their prices go up if they're successful?
Yeah, I think you gave me a little bit too much credit for being into hockey cards. I would say I've been into it for about the past 7 days. And it really came from one of my good friends, Johnny, who is he's a big hockey fan. He's a big believer in McDavid. We were at the Dallas card show together, and I saw he picked up some like $600 McDavid exquisite patch, which regular patches are not outside of hockey. I've learned, we don't think of like any patch really hitting the $600 mark. It's just not something you really chase. But with like exquisite hockey, that's a totally different animal. And I think one of those same exact cards, raw, I think it's doubled in value since the last Dallas card show. And like the PSA 10s go for like $3,000 or something. And I don't know, it's a sport, where again, kind of like F1, where there's a clear like LeBron, MJ kind of like clear dude is far, far ahead of the pack. Well, in some respects. And that's Connor McDavid, who since his rookie year in 2015, or after his rookie year, like every season since then, he's finished either first or second in points, which is assists plus goals. And this year he won it again. I think if the regular season's is the regular season totally over now?
That's a good question. I think they were wrapping up yesterday.
Yeah. So
I know the seeds are all finalized. Like everything's finalized. So I think it's done. And I was going to show this show McDavid's stats here, which is insane. I'll tell you what's insane is when the number 1 and 2 guys in points both play for the same team. I mean, these guys, that just goes to show you that I know Edmonton's in. They're not one of the favorites. The rest of the team needs help. But I mean, geez, if they can build around Draisaitl and McDavid, they're going to be in really, really good shape. And then obviously Marner and Matthews. I know Toronto. I have a buddy who lives in Toronto who is actually a Bruins fan, oddly enough, and he always kind of chuckles because he's like the lone Bruins fan in his office, and Toronto has kind of choked recently over the last few years, even with a lot of talent. So they play the Canadians in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. See what happens. But Jordan asked if we're excited for Metal Universe hockey. Yes, I am. I'm excited to see anything Metal Universe. I'm really excited about that. So let's see. I'm going to scroll up here. Let's see. Hockey cards will go up. Yes, they do. Yeah, true. And there's a new NHL deal with ESPN. So, ESPN's going to be covering hockey more. Let's see here. Once the volume of cards are released from PSA, what effect will it have on prices since they are grading a tremendous number compared to before COVID? I mean, I know you have some thoughts on this too, Parker, but I would be most concerned about those base cards, about the ones with high print runs where there's tons of them and they're just going to get flooded. Mm-hmm. I'd also be concerned if I'm holding something a little more unique right now that's super low pop that may have gotten attention on eBay with raw cards. So, there's different things like that you may have kept your eye on. Maybe you had a graded copy beforehand and then you start seeing all the raw stuff fly off the shelf. You got to imagine some of those things are going to be in the pipeline too. Better usually to get out of those and sell them while the pop is low before things start popping more and more of it starts hitting the market. So,
yeah, I think, one thing to take into consideration is, if you, I'm a huge fan of the, early Prism Select inserts for basketball in particular, just even like the base silvers, which some of the parallels are, of like LeBron or even like pop 10 or less. If you have something like that you think there could be opportunity in, just like keep your eye on the pop count. And if you ever see any big spikes in it, then you might have to reassess the value. But if it's just a slow trickle, if you check it once a month, then 1 month, it goes from being 12 to 14 to 15. That's a pretty good indicator that it's going to stay pretty rare. And especially if it's from, a 2013 or something, that when is that product is probably barely being ripped ever, just for how expensive it is naturally because of Giannis. And then of course it just, lots of cards in there by virtue of it being an early select product being worth a lot.
Yep.
So,
yep. Definitely.
Consideration too.
Definitely. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go back to my list of questions here. So Summer Olympics look like they're actually going to happen. This one's for Jordan, who's hot on Olympic cards and up on all the athletes. I am not as much up on the athletes, but they look like they're going to happen this summer since they didn't last year. Mm-hmm. What do you think of Olympic cards, Parker? And will Team USA cards from basketball see a price increase with all of this?
Maybe, but I do have something interesting to show you. So I kind of had the same thought. Okay, maybe maybe Olympic cards would kind of have a moment. And so I believe it was a 1990 or 1990 box of the whatever the Olympic cards they had from there, and that's how many cards are in. And this is an 800 count box. So if you can see, there's a few hundred cards in there that you get in the box.
Yeah.
I remember like opening like a pack, like the first pack, I just grabbed a handful and you'll pull like one of these cards or whatever of like Team USA. This is like, from the, when they beat the USSR, it's like, oh man, such a cool looking card. Like I'll sleeve that. Maybe you can start grading it. And then like, oh, I grabbed a random stack. Oh, wait, we have another Olympic team card or hockey team card. And then there's just a lot of them. I'll put it that way. So by the end of opening it, I believe I had probably 100 different kinds of the Olympic hockey team one and many, many duplicates. The box is super cheap. It was like $30. And then, I came across, you find like Bruce Jenner in there.
Bruce Jenner.
And so I'm like, oh man, that must be super rare. Nope, there's 20 more in that same box that cost me $30. Oh, Dan Gable, same story. Where it's almost like, at least for that era of Olympic cards. I know that's not the only era of Olympic cards by far, but I guess that era of them, I think that those are really, really overprinted.
So that's another, actually brings up another interesting topic, that sometimes people, when they're trying to get out in front of something and find something unique, they can get duped with low pop counts, where they might see like that low pop PSA graded card on eBay and see, oh, this is like a pop 3, and it's sort of an obscure product that they don't know a lot about.
Yeah.
But there's other people out there, and I was kind of alluding to this a little bit earlier. There's other people out there who are, oh man, I can snatch up a bunch of these things for $1 or 50 cents. Look for the best ones, send them in. Now, with the PSA price increases and obviously them being closed down, this is a little bit different story, but that was kind of a thing. And then all of a sudden you're sitting here going, yeah, I have this pop 3, whatever, Bruce Jenner card. And then all of a sudden it goes from pop 3 to pop like 35 to pop like 96 to pop 300 overnight, because everybody's trying to make the same play. So you have to be a little bit careful with that too, with older stuff. If you see like wax floating around out there, just do your research and know a little bit about the product before you get too crazy buying into something. And I've seen people do that too and buy in like to really high dollar stuff. Like that, where it's low pop, and that's a good way to lose money if the pop explodes like that. So, all right, I'm going to do, let me jump back over to the comments, see if there's anything here that I want to highlight. Let's see, don't forbid, opening a flea market. Anthony asks, is there an option to look back further on chart any card? No, because that's directly from eBay. So eBay doesn't give us more than 90 days access to go back. So that's directly with our eBay API. So we can't go back more than 90 days unless eBay changes that, which would be amazing. So we'll see if that happens. Let's go back to the questions. All right, I want to talk a little bit of football. I know football is probably like the last sport that it makes sense to talk about right now. It's not happening, and it's the farthest out from starting again, and yet the draft just happened. So I'm going to do some rapid fires. So this is some rapid fire questions for you, and you can answer, and we'll just kind of hammer through some of these for fun. So first question: Amari Cooper's Topps Chrome card is up 400% in the last 60 days. Why? I don't either. That was the first thing I saw on price movements, was Amari Cooper's card is up like crazy. Is Dak Prescott supposed to start the season next year?
Yes.
So I don't know if people were just looking at Amari cards and saying they're super low and they're expecting things from the Cowboys, but that was
raw.
No, the PSA 10.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was up like crazy.
A lot of the receiver stuff, it's like, I mean, I think like Stephon Diggs, for example, is like base prism. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the pop count's around like 15 or something in PSA 10, which it's like, it seems like, oh yeah, it'd totally be a play, but like there's just never enough like I don't even know what it is. It's like, it seems like as popular as football is, as popular as some players can get, like it seems like a no-brainer that their stuff would blow up.
Yeah. But
it just never seems to happen, And plus, with football, of course, there's the injury risk, and especially with non-quarterbacks, they can be hot one year, and then a couple years down the road, they're kind of washed up. Nature of the game. All
right, next question. Rank the following players in terms of who you believe will have the best next 3 years, not the best career, just the next 3 years, in terms of performance, individual performance, and winning, team winning.
Okay.
Joe Burrow, Tua, Herbert, or Jalen Hurts? Rank them.
I would say Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Burrow, and Tua.
Interesting. So I'd like to know what other people think in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say the same thing with a some hesitation around Hurts only because we didn't get to see a lot of him last year. He did look good. I kind of wonder, we'll see. He's athletic. He's Philadelphia, obviously to me seems like a better run organization, even though they've struggled the last few years, a better run organization than like Cincinnati, certainly better than Miami. So that kind of makes me think a little bit that Hurts will have some opportunities. They do have a decent run game if their running backs can stay healthy. I know they just brought in Kerryon Johnson from the Lions, so now they've got another injury-prone running back to fill out their roster. But how do you think Burrow's going to recover from the injury? Do you think this coming year he's going to play well?
I think so. I heard somewhere that it was like a bit more complicated than just like, no injury, knee injury is simple per se, but then just like a straight up ACL, I think he tore like multiple ligaments, I think. And so I think there were like a couple of complications, nothing too crazy. But nonetheless, I think, well, first off, he needs an O-line, and they didn't do him any favors taking a wide receiver. What was it, seventh overall pick? They got Jamar Chase. I was watching the draft, and I'm like,
fifth.
I don't know what they're doing. Like, he needs
he's got someone to throw it to. Exactly.
Well, he has to be on his feet to, like, first off, put the cart before the horse type deal. Like, he needs to have him upright first.
Well, I kind of wonder, there was a unique thing that happened in the draft this year where you had Trevor Lawrence and holy cow, Travis Etienne, the running back, both go to the Jags, right? College teammates go to the Jags. And then you had Devontae Smith go to join Tua in Miami, right? College teammates. And then you had Chase and Burrow, who were college teammates, join each other. So kind of a unique thing. I always wonder, there's stories about important players to a franchise calling their management team and saying, I want you to draft this player or else. I know the famous story was Shaq back in the day told his leadership team they better draft Anthony Hardaway or he wasn't going to re-sign with them. So I don't know I always wonder if something like that happens or comes into play. But
well, yeah, so Devontae Smith went to the Eagles actually.
Oh, who am I thinking? Who was? It was the other Alabama receiver.
It was
gosh, I don't know, like totally brain dead tonight. But
Waddle.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle. You're right. That's right.
Yep. But
yeah. So Tua. I saw in the chat a lot of people are also kind of not team Tua.
Yeah, I'm not either.
He scares me. He reminds me. It kind of reminded me of like Vince Young or Marcus Mariota, both of whom happened to be on the Titans, obviously, but where they were like winning games early, and people were all like hyped up on them, like, oh, they just know how to win games. But if you actually looked at their performance, it was like, but they didn't do that much, you know, like Vince Young. That's not totally true. Like Mariota actually had a pretty good first season, but it just, there was something missing when you watch it. You're like, nothing about this is wowing me. I'm not sure this is going to be sustainable. It feels like these defenses are going to be able to figure them out. Tua looked very much less than stellar last year. So it'll be interesting to see if he can, develop. Some of these guys can develop, but I don't put a lot of faith in Miami to develop players. So
yeah, Tua, first off, that hip injury, it just scares me from if you're investing in a player to have such a major injury like that. It definitely is worrisome. And then, he's just kind of got some of that just game manager-ishness in him.
Yeah.
But not even because Dak Prescott was labeled a game manager forever, but he's, as more of he's not a Mahomes, but he doesn't suck, but he's pretty good. So he's a game manager. Tua, I don't know. I just didn't see anything like from him last season that, and he got yanked for Fitzmagic. So never a good sign when you actually yanked in your rookie season.
I don't know. A lot of guys have been yanked for Fitzmagic though. So
it's true.
Last year, Miami had a bit of a. I feel like Miami had a bit of a like identity crisis throughout the season because they were trying to figure out, do we keep tanking because we're used to really being bad, try to get a good draft pick,
but our defense is pretty good.
Somehow we're winning games, which is weird because our quarterbacks aren't playing well, but we're winning. So they couldn't figure out if they wanted to go for the wins in the playoffs or go for tanking, but they kept playing games with their quarterback. But speaking of losing and quarterbacks, how good do you think Trevor Lawrence will be, and how crazy are his card prices going to be next year, especially considering I think Topps or somebody already released like an entirely Trevor Lawrence product?
Yes. Yeah, no. I saw on my slab that was, which because they implemented wax now. So you can, just like you scroll through cards, you can go through wax, which I find pretty cool. And so I saw a bunch of these Trevor Lawrence boxes there. Let's do a little experiment, Teapot. How about you pull up my slabs, go to their wax, and see how long it takes you to scroll before you run to the first Trevor Lawrence box.
All right, let's check it out.
My guess is
it's the first two boxes.
It literally is?
It's literally the first two boxes. And these are posted in order of like when this is a case, it looks like. So yeah, I mean, I can't get into a product like this. I don't like products that are all the same player, or it's not for me, but I've seen a lot of it on Instagram. A lot of people posting that on Instagram. So
yeah, it's the most blatant money grab I think I've seen in a while, of just like, I mean, they're just flooding, just flooding the card market with cards that are not going to be worth that much.
Yeah.
I would pay $0 for that, maybe less. Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. So
it's like it's cat's out of the bag, I think, before he even plays. It's like I feel like it's going to be baked in that he's the next Mahomes, and if he's anything less, then his cards are going to, of course, you got to let him, like, you have to let products release first, and you have to let the first wave of graded ones hit and kind of see where everything, flattens out at. Because, of course, there's the overreaction initially when the cards are released. But, yeah, it'll be interesting, I'll say. I think in a year, it'll be pretty crystal clear, if what I guess will happen is that lots of the stuff that's going to be released and the products are all going to be like 4 figures, that is just not going to be worth as much. That's my hunch. Anyway.
So it reminds me, this kind of reminds me of the F1 release, and it kind of reminds me of the Zion Williamson craze, where there's a lesson to be learned, which is Zion cards. I did this in my card write-up. It's probably been 4 months or something now since I put this out, but I had gone back and I had looked at like the top 20 rookies in terms of price movements and things in Prism basketball from 2019, that rookie class. And when I sorted all of them from like over the last year, Zion's cards had gone up the least. They had gone up, but only like 4% compared to the year prior. So whereas his cards are expensive, and yes, they had gone up some, and they had seen obviously ebbs and flows like everybody, they had gone up the least. So when you come into a guy, it doesn't matter if he's the best player.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it from an investment perspective, you're trying to find the ones who, have the most opportunity to go up. And you're also, weighing the risk associated. So a guy like Lawrence, when you're buying in, I would expect the stuff's going to be totally insane at first, probably come down 30 to 50%, at some point, and then probably level off and slowly start coming back up. But I don't know. There's other guys like of the other 4 guys drafted in the first round. So Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or Mac Jones. Who of those guys would you say you would like the most, and who do you like the least?
maybe it's a bit. So my dad's a Bears fan, so I was actually, I was pretty pumped when I saw they got Fields. Pumped for him. Again, man, it's so hit or miss. Again, a few years we're gonna look back and be like, just like we'll look back and say, oh, Trubisky, like why the heck would you have taken him second overall? Where it's not entirely. I mean, it was a bit of a reach even then, obviously, at the time, but it's so hard to guess how these dudes are going to shake out between injuries, team chemistry, all these things. But as far as intangibles go, from what I've seen, I like Justin Fields. Like you saw, in I think it was, national championship game, right? When he took that massive hit, broke some ribs, but he came back and kept fighting for his team. I don't know. Like you can't coach that. You can't teach that. So I like those kind of, and he's pretty stoic. He reminds me a bit of Russell Wilson, maybe in some ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't put any numbers behind it. I haven't looked that deep into it, but just my gut tells me Justin Fields should be pretty good.
Yeah, I can't figure out or decide what to think of Fields. He's an Atlanta guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Atlanta. His dad was in the Marines. I was watching some kind of interesting interviews on while I was down in Atlanta. I think that was on TV. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting story. He is very stoic. It seems like he's really disciplined and very level-headed, So he may not let that stuff kind of get to him. What'd you say? He's a
vegan.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he'll have Chris Paul in his corner. So I don't know how anybody does that, by the way, as somebody who's been on a limited diet for months now. But yeah, I think Fields is an interesting one. Lance, I feel like Lance is in the best situation to win. Mm-hmm. That San Francisco team was in a really unique position where they have tons of talent still, but they just weren't very good because of injuries and some other things last year. And so he'll be coming into a really good situation, really good coaching staff, very tough division, very, very like brutally tough division defensively, like the hardest. So he's going to have to, that's going to be a trial by fire for him. But I don't know. I think Zach Wilson, I don't think, until the Jets prove me wrong, which the Bears also haven't been able to have a good quarterback either, but the Jets is such a dumpster fire of an organization. And I keep seeing the memes, like he literally looks like somebody out of a Disney Channel, like musical or something, it's just really, I have not watched him play. I've only seen highlights. And so I have no idea what to think of him, but we'll see if there are three other guys actually, two of whom I saw. So Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, and Davis Mills all went back to back to back. Mills went to your Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. So I do think that one of those three guys, just probability chance, will end up being viable, will end up being pretty good. So I know if Jeff's out there somewhere watching, he's making his gator chomps about Trask. So Mond, he went up to Minnesota, and who knows what's going to happen long-term there with Kirk Cousins. He's been overhyped, and under-delivered, but I think Mond will have a chance to kind of learn and observe, and then who knows, maybe get a chance to actually play at some point with some talent around him up there too. So
agreed.
All right. Rapid fire, true or false here. True or false, Aaron Rodgers has played his last game as a Green Bay Packer.
False, I think. I heard there were rumors of, I don't know if these are confirmed, maybe someone in the chat can let us know, of, a potential offer, or maybe offer already being made, of like, Mahomes type money to him. Yeah, I say false, but tongue in cheek. I think a lot of things are pointing towards true. But
I'm going to say true as a hopeful Lions fan that the torture is over the torture of Aaron Rodgers is over. And watch them. I don't know. Yeah, watch him go to. I guess now he'll probably end up going to Denver and competing against my Chiefs, which are my AFC team, but or Oakland. But I'm going to say true on that one. I'm going to say true. I think whatever's gone wrong, it seems to have gone wrong fast. All right, true or false? Deshaun Watson has played his last game as a Houston Texan.
I don't even know, man. Apparently, he's like they're in talks of settling a lot of these cases. So, we haven't heard a ton recently, like making like headlines about that whole situation. What was it that he has? I am gonna say it is not his last game as a Texan because he's all we have left.
Yeah. You got Davis Mills, so might be time to start over again. So I'm going to say true, and the reason I'm going to say true is I think, meaning true, it was his last game as a Houston Texan. Yeah. I think things got really sour beforehand. He had all the leverage, all this very unfortunate stuff came out, has to play out. We have to hear these things in court and everything. And I just feel bad no matter what. It's a really ugly situation. And I do think he's going to end up getting a chance to play again. I think he's too talented that some team will end up calling for his services, and Houston just the dumpster fire continues there. They're going to have to keep rebuilding, but
it's tough, man. I'm Titanic right now as a Texans fan, but I'm going down playing the violin.
So true or false? Sam Darnold is a bust.
Now he is, yes. I think, for a while there, I thought if the when the Jets seemed like they were getting it together and they had like Le'Veon Bell, and they had Jamal Adams who was leading their defense. It seemed like for a bit of time there, like there was some momentum behind them, but then Le'Veon Bell just showed he's washed up. Jamal Adams wanted out and got out. And then of course, I do not think that organizationally, it just feels like a move of like a GM who's like under the gun, who thinks that drafting Zach Wilson is just a way to like keep his job for another year. It doesn't, seem like a, looking at it like 10-year out kind of view. Because obviously, you again back to the O lines, like you need an O line, and to swap you spent your third overall pick on this guy, Darnold, who did not, got about the worst go of it as you can have as a quarterback. On top of the mono and all that, he's just running for his life, no weapons really to speak of. Terrible situation to showcase any kind of potential. And then so the Jets think, oh, we're just going to swap, this guy out for, another guy. We're just going to put him in the same exact situation that the last guy wasn't able to succeed in. It doesn't, I don't know how it makes any sense. But to your point, I think that, him going to the Panthers now, who are, they're not blowing anyone out of the water either. I think.
Well, that division's kind of open with Breeze retiring, the Falcons defense being non-existent to another team that went heavy offense with Pitts and that division's obviously Tampa's Tampa and everybody's expecting them to come back big this year, but crazier things can happen. Brady could get hurt or whatever, he's got weapons, assuming Christian McCaffrey can play. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, good receivers, pretty good receivers. So we'll see. But I was personally never a Sam Darnold believer. I never bought a single one of his cards. One, I hate USC and grew up a Notre Dame fan. And so I really don't like USC. And I watched him play in college a fair amount. and I never understood the hype. I really just never understood the hype. Also, he looks like a weird version of Rudy, kind of like of Sean Astin.
You know who he looks like?
Weirds me out too.
This is not to get political at all. He looks like Matt Gaetz. They look identical.
I think he looks more like Rudy.
Cameras, I'm like, that's the same dude.
He looks more like Samwise Gamgee. So,
who?
Sean Astin, Samwise. You're not a Hobbit fan? You're not a Lord of the Rings fan?
No.
Oh man, I'll have to bring you into that someday. All right, let's see. All right, last run of questions. Just quick, straight answer. No explanation. Who would you rather invest in, Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson?
This is a tough one. It's a tricky one. If I had to pick, I would say Baker, only because I think hype has died down around him enough to where, if he comes out and just has, a reasonable amount of success this year, or who knows, even maybe takes the next step, I think we could see his cards go back up. Where with Lamar, I think, Lamar is the only answer. Hey, I agree.
I'm gonna go Lamar. I like Lamar. I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson. I'm kind of a fan of Baker Mayfield too, to be honest. And I've always sympathized with Browns fans because the Browns and the Lions have just been so bad. I'm happy for them. So you said Baker. I'll say Lamar. But so Baker or Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray, no doubt. He's you'll see him in my video this Sunday. He's the dude I'm gonna be looking for in Dallas, to be honest.
I like Kyler. I like the team around him. I like that. All right, Kyler Murray or Josh Allen?
From a card price perspective, I say Kyler. I think that he hasn't quite had that boom moment that Josh had last season. Because I was on Josh before last season, which was a great investment. I think that Kyler has shades of kind of Josh Allen before last season. I'm hoping he does anyways.
Just in terms of what could happen with his card prices. Yeah.
And it's a good team. I mean, they've got most of my Texans, at least the good players on the roster now. So, he can be throwing up. JJ can be, getting sacks and getting Kyler back on the field, So, yeah, I'll be rooting for him.
So Ben says the Bills will always let you down. Spoken like a true upstate New Yorker. The thing I worry about with Josh Allen was the inconsistency, and he's still young, but he seems to go through like runs of games where he's really good. Last year he started out, I think the first 4 or 5 weeks, and he was really good. And then if I remember, he had a run of weeks where he looked terrible. And then he turned it back on again. And that, I mean, to some extent that happens with players, but I feel like you see more like week to week volatility and matchup volatility. Allen is a gunslinger. The accuracy sometimes has concerned me, but I mean, he's also basically like a faster, huge Ben Roethlisberger type quarterback. So I think he's got a long career ahead of him, and the Bills love him. He's gonna be there for a while. So. All right.
I saw
let's see.
Brad said that. Brad said where's comment? Yeah, that there it is. Yeah, his field level silvers have dropped a bit. So a funny thing though about that, I don't know how this happened, but field level silvers in 2019 were printed out the wazoo. Like I'm looking right now. Yeah, Kyler's pop count's 380. Like, you just, you don't see that. When you go back, like, let me take a look at like Mahomes, who I would assume like every field level known to man.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, right? Look, his base was 83, and his silver is 380.
It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
All right, let's see. Mahomes what's his pop count? for his 2017. Yeah, Mahomes is his field level silver PSA 10 is Pop 83. And like I said, I would assume every single one out there almost has probably been graded. So yeah, I don't know what they did with Prism Silvers this past year, but they definitely watered them down a bit. So
it's something. I don't know if it's something to do with the fact that the field level base were 2 per box, but then if you hit parallels of field level, they're like extra hits. They're not like one of the 2 field levels. You get another one. So you get 2 base field levels in a box, and then you get like a silver or a colored one sometimes on top of it. And I almost wonder if for some reason they like just did more silvers. It's really strange.
Yeah.
All right. So DK Metcalf or AJ Brown?
I mean, we had him as our would you rather last week, and I saw mostly DK because I think his Prism PSA 10s are around like 220 as of last week, and then AJ Brown's were around 180. I think lots of people kind of made this argument that as a talent, they think AJ Brown. But man, when you throw oddball things in there that get national attention, like his whole track thing, I'm going to be curious to see like over the next month, like how that affects his card prices. So in that sense, I think I'm going to have to go DK.
I'm going to go DK because of the quarterback, although there's Wilson's expressed being unhappy somewhat, and who knows where his head is and everything. But I saw this picture at first when we did the Would You Rather and was like, wait a minute, is that the same card? It looks so similar.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, either of these guys really good. The thing that kills me with the positional players and base cards like this, and granted, I think they're pretty low pop in the PSA 10, at least right now, and probably will stay that way. I just can't help but go back and look at other cards that I can buy for this price point.
Yeah.
And it could be older cards. It could be all-time greats. These positional players can be out of the league just as soon as they were in it. DK Metcalf could have already had his last good season for all we know. Like that's just how, for any number of reasons, because he gets injured, because Russell Wilson gets injured or leaves the team, because, he just forgets how to run routes or has stone hands next year or something. I don't expect that. I think both these guys will be pretty good. But even if they're like, think of a guy like Anquan Boldin. All right. I wonder if I think we have Anquan's cards in here. No, we don't. Okay, I'll fix that.
Well,
you know what? I know I've looked at adding Bolden's cards. They might be so low pop that I didn't add them.
Yep. I looked at it,
Yeah.
But again, that's just dudes they just get forgotten like that, unfortunately. Like Andre Johnson of my Texans, thankfully, I mean, there were like enough sales where I was able to add just like a couple of his tops grades in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because they came from eras where it was just not much was printed at all. But some was, I don't know. It's just weird how dudes get forgotten like that. And so, I'm not saying that like DK would be, I'm not looking at it from like a 10-year perspective, time perspective to invest in him now. But, I think that, honestly, I think that if DK, I think this whole track thing is kind of building him into more of like what would you say? A bit of like it's just upping his celebrity a lot. So I think if he does come out and say, let's say he has some like monster 150, 200 yard game in the first couple weeks, I do think we could see a pretty big spike in his prices.
Yeah.
But if AJ Brown did the same, I just think it would get, him being like on the Titans, definitely not the same celebrity as DK Metcalf. I don't think his prices would jump as much. So
I also love Anquan Boldin. He's one of my favorite wide receivers, and I was so angry when Kurt Warner and Fitzgerald and Boldin lost that Super Bowl thanks to a bogus touchdown call for Santonio Holmes and a insane pick six at the half from James Harrison. That was One of the most frustrating. I know exactly where I was. I was in a hotel room in Ohio with my dad, waiting to go trying to get into the Air Force. So check this out. If I go back, this is 2010. The season leaders for receptions. Remember Roddy White, right? If you look up Roddy White cards now, Brandon Lloyd led the league in receiving yards that year.
Oh, yeah.
Even Reggie Wayne cards, super cheap. Greg Jennings cards probably haven't even been any graded, and that guy was so good for so many years. Mike Wallace was like supposed to be this great speedster, So you just go down the list, and not many of these guys' cards are worth anything. Even Brandon Marshall, dude, his cards are like just dirt cheap, next to nothing. I bought a one of one impeccable Brandon Marshall card because it was like $28.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like a year ago, but I was like, this guy was so good. This is a sweet card. So why wouldn't I buy this?
Yeah. I think you honestly have to look for, I don't even know what to call them, maybe X factors per se, of what makes guys really collectible. Like maybe we just have to diagnose, like why do, Randy Moss comes to mind as far as like over the last 20 plus years, like probably the most, unless I'm missing someone, like most collected wide receiver in the hobby. Again, unless I'm totally missing somebody. Fitzgerald's definitely up there, but like
Terrell Owens was up there too for a little bit.
T.O., yeah. I mean, you don't really
not
hear
as much as
T.O.
Moss
at all anymore, unfortunately. But like, I don't know. It's like just Randy being, kind of, he's a character. Of course, he had that giant season with the Patriots where he, scored I think it was 23 receiving touchdowns in a single year. And then his days with the Vikings, you got Moss kind of stuff. They're all kind of little X factors that chip in, contribute to his collectability. I think, honestly, DK with this whole track thing, I think that adds one little X factor, maybe.
I don't know. I think the track thing is just a flash in the pan, a quick highlight or a quick headline. But yeah, I mean, when you go down this list, Isaac Bruce cards, not expensive. Tim Brown cards, not expensive. Chris Carter cards, honestly, not that expensive. Anquan Bolden, number 14 all time in receiving yards. And same thing with Torrey Holt. None of these guys, it's crazy. None of these guys' cards are expensive. And so it leads me to believe one of two things will happen. Either positional players' cards will continue to grow in popularity over time. And then people will go, oh my gosh, look how cheap these all-time greats, these top 20 players at the position are. Comparatively, maybe I should snatch some of those up. I could see that happening. Or you could see that DK Metcalf is going to be out of the league at some point, and people will really not care about his cards. They'll be on to the next guy, and then on to the next guy, and then on to the next guy. So, yeah.
Who knows?
All right, last one. Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey?
Saquon. I think, I just worry about Christian's size, to be honest. In the modern day NFL, being 5'11", 200 pounds, it almost seems like a math equation at some point that you're just, again, talk about players. I think it's dudes who can really hold up, and I think minus that ACL injury, of course, which I'm hoping does not hinder him at all for the rest of his career. I think Saquon, of course, also being in New York helps. And, him being that, again, kind of a little X factor is him, just that freak of nature size. If he starts Derrick Henry people, just stiff arming them into oblivion, just trucking dudes, getting on SportsCenter all the time. I mean, who knows? But he's got that potential where Christian, he's already really proven me wrong, to be honest. I was saying back in 2017, I thought he'd be a bust, to be honest. Proved me totally wrong. But
I thought McCaffrey would end up being like Theo Riddick was. Or I thought McCaffrey, might be like Brian Westbrook was for the Eagles, like kind of just line him up in the slot, like do a bunch of things. But I don't know. Both those guys are really good. What about, okay, so I think I might say McCaffrey only because I'm worried about Barkley's injury, but I like both of those guys a ton.
Mhm.
Another guy I like is Delvin Cook. So would you go Barkley or Delvin Cook?
I would go Barkley because again, I think that Dalvin, with that season last year, I think he may have hit his peak then. I don't think the Vikings are really, they have a plateaued quarterback, if you will, with Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's like he's going to be like your just average quarterback. We've seen he can't be anything special. We've seen he doesn't totally suck all the time. I just don't really see that organization, I don't know. At least with New York, it's like, who knows if Danny Dimes can become something, if, him and Galladay, if they can develop that defense. I have no idea, to be honest, but I would have to go Barkley.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not sure. All those guys are good, but running backs, gosh, can they play more than 5 years? Who knows?
Yeah, barely. I mean, Les James, yeah. I still have no idea how Adrian Peterson is still playing. I mean, the dude that explosive, who played at the highest level, from Oklahoma, and then, had all those years where he was the main bell cow in Minnesota, and he's still doing the dang thing. Or no, he's a free agent right now, I believe. But he's looking for a team, I think.
Yeah, I think Detroit got rid of him.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Last thing here, NBA playoffs.
Yep.
So in the East, so we got this weird play-in scenario thing. I think it's just safe to say, forget about these teams in terms of any investment. I mean, with the caveat that Washington's been playing really well, and Beal and Westbrook are healthy. There's some headlines around them because of Westbrook and the triple-double record. Yeah. Maybe if they, I just don't, none of these teams are going to beat Philadelphia or Brooklyn. I don't see that happening. So Philadelphia, Embiid, I saw he was sitting out again. I don't know if he's hurt again or what the deal is. If it was just a game of rest, but who do you like in the East?
If they're all healthy, of course, Brooklyn. I'm trying to think from someone I think who has like a decent shot at, maybe exceeding expectations and raising their card prices. Oh boy. I would have to say what are you messing with the Hawks?
I think if the Hawks were to make it somehow to the Eastern Conference Finals, that Trae Young's cards are going to go up like crazy.
I agree.
And I don't expect them to do that.
Yeah.
I just think they're still too immature of a team, and they're a little inconsistent. And he's a very streaky shooter, and a lot of the guys on their team are very streaky shooters. On any given night, the Hawks can beat anybody, I think, because of the offensive weapons they have. But Clint Capella has proven to be a massive pickup for them. That was a really good trade for them, and he has been an absolute beast this year. I was really bummed when Drummond didn't go to the Hawks last year. There were rumors around that, but I don't know. Atlanta intrigues me. Miami's playing pretty well right now. They have been terrible all year, but somehow they're still the 5 seed. This is looking just like last year with Miami, where all of a sudden guys are healthy. Jimmy Buckets is going to do his thing. Tyler Hero finally had a good game, or has had a few good games. Maybe his head's back in the game. So I don't know. I do not believe in the Knicks whatsoever this year. Sorry if anybody is a Knicks fan, but I just don't think this year. I think they've got a great young roster. I think it's great for the NBA when the Knicks are good, but I don't believe in them at all. I'm still holding out hope in the Bucks, and I'll tell you what encourages me is they have a really strong point differential. What doesn't encourage me is when you look at teams that are 500 and above, they're barely like 500 themselves. So they have struggled somewhat against top tier talent this year.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I don't know. I think they need Giannis needs more around him than what he has right now.
Yeah, I do have to say, for the Knicks, for some reason I really enjoy watching Julius Randle play. I think his game is super fun to watch. He can be explosive at times.
Yep.
He's kind of a throwback with his fadeaway jumpers that he utilizes beautifully. When he drives, he's very good at driving. He can hit the three. He's just, it's weird. I've really enjoyed watching that guy play, and he has risen in popularity. But I don't think that they will be able to vanquish any of the Titans in the Eastern Conference. So.
Yep. Yeah, he is fun to watch. I was really high on Randall when he was coming out of college. I thought he was. I mean, he was amazing at Kentucky, and then he just kind of got lost in those weird years with the Lakers, and he was injured his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he missed the whole year for the most part. So let's see, Wisconsin Collectibles homer pick here, but nobody's talking about the Bucks. I mean, nobody is talking about the Bucks. I listen to sports radio. They're just writing them off. They're like, oh, well, obviously if they won the East the last 2 years running away and then they choked in the playoffs, they're going to do the same thing. To me, the pressure is off of them. Giannis is still going to be as hungry as ever. He's having another MVP caliber season. And I don't know. I just don't know if they have the depth, but this just feels wide open to me. Who knows how well the Nets are going to gel, but they do have 3 very seasoned players. And when it comes down to it, there aren't many players in the NBA that I'd rather have the ball in the hands of late in the game than Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. So, that takes the pressure off of James Harden, who has struggled in clutch situations. Kyrie, obviously, there's not a single player in the NBA outside of maybe Steph who gets turned on like Kyrie does and then can't miss, just does crazy things. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to take down Brooklyn. Philadelphia. The West is just like, wow. I mean, if you had told me that this was going to be what the West looked like at the beginning of the season, I would have said you're crazy. But I was, it's funny when Mike Conley went to the Jazz, I guess it was last year, I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a huge pickup. They're going to be so tough defensively. They're going to be really, really good. And then he wasn't very good last year. In fact, he was somewhat terrible.
Yeah.
And the Jazz obviously were, they were competing and aggressive and flashy in the playoffs last year, but it didn't work out. Now here they are, and talk about what a difference Chris Paul makes. You literally put Chris Paul on any team and they're instantly a playoff team. The only other player you can even say that for in the NBA who has proven that is LeBron. Like, take any other team, and every time Chris Paul goes to a team, they're a playoff team now, and a pretty good one at that. Mm-hmm. So, crazy. I don't know. I don't know what to think in the West. I think it's going to be wild. I think it's going to be totally wide open and wild. And I am just laughing a little bit at this. Because of all the betting and all the assurances, and even when Drummond got traded to the Lakers, which I wasn't happy about.
You were not happy?
No, I wasn't happy about it. I'm not a LeBron fan. I don't like LeBron. As a diehard Pistons fan, don't like LeBron. Didn't like him on the Cavs or the Heat.
What does that have to do with being a Pistons fan?
Oh man, the Pistons were good, if you remember, once upon a time, and LeBron kept getting all the calls, every call. It was like starting in 2005, the league just decided it's all LeBron from here on out. No more grinded out Pistons success. We're just going to give every call to LeBron. So anyway, not a LeBron fan, and I wanted him to go to Brooklyn if he was going to go anywhere like that, but it didn't work out. I think the Nets would have been better off with Drummond than they are with Blake Griffin, but that's just me. All right. Well, we've been blabbing on for hours, and I see Jordan at least supports me on LeBron. I'm probably the only one who thinks that, but this has been fun. Good. Lots of very diverse conversation. Apologies to anybody who was on early when I wasn't sharing my screen, but we got that sorted out. Rookie move. I will look forward to the next time. I think
I think we need to end this with and we would both. I think you enjoy this as well. What have you picked up recently? What do you have to show off for us? I think we should end these things with just card showing.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. Okay.
Yeah. We don't have any trivia. Sorry, Jordan.
I'm gonna do this, and I picked up this really sweet Topps Pristine Sean Marion on card auto. Really cool.
There you go.
And it's a refractor. Was not expensive. Another Topps Pristine, which I really like. This John Stockton, numbered 1/50 refractor. Super cool. John Stockton, my favorite NBA player of all time. And this Barry Sanders. So this is a
was that a reserve?
Fleer Focus.
No.
Fleer Focus. It's called Reflections.
Oh, okay.
Numbered 60/100. Really cool card.
That's cool.
So it's tough to come by numbered Barry Sanders stuff. Tayshaun Prince Gold Topps Chrome. Not my favorite year of Topps Chrome, but this is numbered to 99 and coming by really cool. Tayshaun cards is kind of difficult sometimes too, so that was a fun one to pick up. And then I got this sweet gold medallion Vince Carter flying through the air. This was one of my very specific saved searches on eBay. When this popped up, I was like, I'm getting this card no matter what. So I got that.
How much was that? If we don't,
I think this was like 45.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I have the base one of that in my Vince PC, but you know.
Yeah, it's that's somewhat expensive compared to other gold medallions, which they don't really tend to go for a ton, but for this photo and some of the like AIs and stuff kind of go for that price range. And then I picked up a Scherzer of this. I have the Miguel Cabrera, but this is out of Prism, which so it's the unlicensed, but it doesn't really matter on this card as much because it's the really cool, like, you know, kind of two poses. It kind of reminds me of like a cross between Blank Slate and Color Blast because it's like really simple, but it's just kind of that understated color effect. So I have one of those in, I have a Miguel Cabrera and I have the Scherzer now, who I'm a fan of.
Yeah, it looks like some of like those, you know, like Panini, like was like some of like the, you know, their Black Friday or their Father's Day releases. You know, sometimes when they have like designs kind of like that, they nail it. Yeah, looks like one of those. Yeah.
Some of that stuff is really cool from a collector. It is the resale. You know, the value isn't very high on those for whatever reason, but there's some really cool cards in that Panini Father's Day and stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, what about you?
Let's just see here. I just got these in the mail today. One of a few soccer auctions. I think I switched the camera.
Oh, whoops! Yeah, I'm gonna pop this up here. Whoops! No, not that.
Vince Carter is the reason you follow basketball.
I mean, that's cool too. But Spurs cards, hit me up. You got Noir Drummond. All right, I'm gonna switch you over here, and then I'm gonna put you up in full screen.
So I won these at auction. They're
Nice.
Kevin De Bruyne from 2020 Select Euro. And so this one is the neon green at a 149. It's, you know, they have this little like short print version where, you know, they have like the like team color, like nameplate, if you will. So like with Mbappe being, you know, on the French team, this would be blue. With De Bruyne being from Belgium, it's red. And then I got PSA 9 of the maroon out of 165.
Nice.
And I picked this up pretty cheap just because having opened a few boxes, I think these kind of inserts I believe were just one per box, even like the non-silvers. But I got a PSA 9 Ronaldo of this top of the class insert. Yeah, it's like honestly the select inserts of soccer players, they're very, very rare. And this is not like that eye appealing of one. Where like other years, previous years, there were some even cooler looking ones. And then I have not too long ago, I picked up the final piece minus the 1 of 1 of my Conor McGregor 20 Topps Chrome Rainbow. which this is the black one out of 10, which was the last one I needed. So here's the other ones of the numbered parallels. So there's got the green out of 99, the blue wave out of 75, and the gold out of 50, and the orange out of 25, and then the one that cost me the most was the red, which is 5 of 5. So really, I just needed the 1 of 1, but I don't really think I want to be spending 5 or 6 figures on a card anytime soon.
Yeah, maybe those ones will help buy you your dream car someday. You never know.
Yeah, who knows?
You never know. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks. This was a lot of fun. It's always fun to chat and talk about the market. And we got plenty. This is an exciting time of year with playoffs starting and lots of stuff heading into the summer. So, and it'll be cool because, usually summer has kind of a lull in it, but we'll have the Olympics and the Euros, and there's tons of stuff going on in baseballs. I'm enjoying the baseball season so far. We didn't talk at all about that, but
sure.
Until next time, I will talk to you later.
Yeah. Awesome. Nice, guys.
Thanks, everyone.